Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you don't have the chance, go check out our website at justsayingfootball.com and follow us on Instagram at justsayingNoGWJS for article and video updates. Week 10 continues at the 4 o'clock time. Let's kick it off with my Minnesota Vikings going to LA to take on the Chargers. Vikings lost a brutal OT loss last week again. I was at that game. Justin Tucker literally kicked it right in front of me. My family and I were right in front of the ball when all of a sudden Justin Tucker's automatic leg kicked it right through and ruined our hopes. So what are your thoughts on the Vikings and the Chargers in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Ravens got their comeuppance last night in Thursday Night Football, getting rocked by Miami. But hopefully the Vikings can get, their revenge this week with the Chargers. Tough place to play so far. LA, They look like a really good team this year. We've been pretty high on them. 5-3 right now. The Raiders top in their division. I do still like the Chargers as a division favorite, but I'm very excited about these offenses. Kirk Cousins playing well, Justin Herbert playing well. You got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, you got Justin Jefferson, Thielen. How are you feeling about this, especially the running back battle between your guy, Dalvin Cook and Austin Eckler, who you've been huge on this year?
I mean, when you're talking about just weapons, and you can put the Buccaneers in this category as well. This is just one of the most exciting weapons of teams offensively we're going to see. I mean, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook. These are Pro Bowl guys when they're healthy and when they're at the top of their game. Some of them are all pros when they're healthy and at the top of their game. These are cream of the crop in the NFL when it comes to position groups. So I'm really looking forward to the offensive matchups. You got to flip to the other side of the ball. Look at the defense and which defense is gonna step up. Last time these two teams met, Minnesota won actually 39-10. We handed them a fat L. We had a touchdown on the defensive side of the ball, but that was when Phillip Rivers was the quarterback. So yeah, this is quite some time ago. This is a very different Chargers team. Granted, the players for the most part are the same. Justin Herbert adds a lot more to this team. I'm not super confident in the Vikings right now with our offense. There were some plays in OT that I really didn't like, including off tackle run, which just seemed like it's 2nd and 9. Why are we running the damn ball in OT? Yeah. Come on, are you killing me? And I haven't loved our offensive play calling this year under Clint Kubiak. I thought it would be a little bit similar to what we saw last year with his dad, and it hasn't been at times. So I'm going to lean with the Chargers in this one. Their offense is firing on all cylinders. We still don't have Patrick Peterson back, so Keenan Allen has a chance to really feast. And that's really it for me. I just don't know if our defense is going to be able to make those crucial stops. They did last week. I mean, we saw them get a few interceptions against Lamar Jackson, including an OT one, but still our offense wasn't able to get it done. And so I'll lean with a team that's been doing really well all season and is looking like they're probably going to win the AFC West, assuming the Raiders don't surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with the Chargers on this one too. I wanted to oppose you. I wanted to give you, your Minnesota Vikings. But the crazy thing is, right now, the Chargers right now they're third best when it comes to passing defense. And as you mentioned, this is going to be a huge shootout. Pat Peterson out from Minnesota is a huge disadvantage to their defensive secondary, even though it doesn't seem that way. But missing a top corner like that against an offense like this can be really tough. Right now, both of these teams are allowing, the third most rush and the most rush. The Chargers are allowing, 161 yards on the ground every game. I think that, if they're going to win, it's going to be through Dalvin, but I love, what Eckler does and Herbert. I think that LA just needs this big win this week. So I'm going to go with them too.
Yeah. And also no Michael Pierce again for us, and Anthony Barzell is going to be out in this one. There's some big names for our defense that are going to be missing. Anthony Barr had the interception in OT. That was huge, but moving on, we have the Carolina Panthers heading to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Huge news. Huge news. Has been signed back to the Panthers, and he is back in town. Superman is around. Sam Darnold is on IR currently. Don't know who we're going to see just yet. Probably, I have a feeling it's going to be PJ Walker in this game, just to start this game, because he knows the offensive playbook a little bit more. Yeah, I think he was around. This is a Matt Rule offense, a little bit different going on right now. So I do expect a heavy PJ Walker day. But I wouldn't be surprised if they put in Cam at any point in the game, or maybe plays or anything like that. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Sam Darnold, obviously, we were high on him going into the season, but he was set up with the weapons. And, now McCaffrey coming back this week, I think that leans heavier to PJ Walker, where he could have a little bit better of a game than we've seen him have in the past. DJ Moore has had some of his best performances with PJ Walker in there. The one thing that I see with Cam, like you said, that'd be exciting as heck to go see him go out and go Superman. I mean, for me, I'm looking at it like, the Cardinals on the other side, they're just so hard to bet against. We saw them without Hopkins and Murray last week tear people apart. I mean, James Conner is the waiver wire pickup of the year. And, he has 11 touchdowns. He's leading the league right now, and we are halfway through the season. He may not have a huge boom like that, but 3 touchdowns last week. I got to say off the gate, like, if Kyler is still at the game time decision, I still trust this team to be able to get it done. They're well coached. Cliff Kingsbury, sorry about what I said to you about you last August, but you're a good guy. You're 8-1. I think you can go 9-1 with this one.
No, absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned, there was no DeAndre Hopkins last week. There was no AJ Green last week. There was no Kyler Murray. They're basically down to their third wide receiver, their backup quarterback, their backup running back, because Chase Edmonds got injured early on. He's most likely out for this game as well. In practice this week. They're down all their stars. We saw them last week be able to still pull off a W against a division opponent in an away game.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
And it was amazing because what you saw out of Cliff Kingsbury was the play calling ability. I mean, when he had Zach Ertz, he would keep motioning them on different sides of the ball, his wide receivers. And what it would allow was for this wide open right down the middle for Zach Ertz pretty much every single time on a simple slant route or post route. And it really opened it up for Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy is a veteran. I talked about it last week. He won with the Giants. He'll know how to work offensive playbook. I did not expect them to win last week. They came out and they were calling the right plays. Cliff Kingsbury was right there the entire time. James Conner had a great game. Benjamin with the truck stick of the year so far.
Yeah, and his first career touchdown shout out.
Yeah, and he got Angry Runners of the Week from Good Morning Football. Kyle Brandt, like, hey, everything's going up. Benjamin right now. I love the Cardinals as well as in this one. Look, that Panthers offense. I was high on Sam Darnold. He has not, and he hasn't produced. And their defense is still great. Their defense is still playing at a very high level. That offense has been lacking in production, and you hope that DJ Moore can get it going. Christian McCaffrey's back in, like you said. You hope that kind of balances the offense out. But right now, with where they are and where the Cardinals are, I'm gonna stick with the Cardinals because we saw it doesn't matter the injuries. We're gonna find ways to win. They did it last week again against a division opponent in an away game. Now they're home. I'm sticking with the Cardinals for sure. They're moving to 9-1, I think.
Definitely. I mean, and in the next matchup here, I don't think it's as simple as that because both of these teams are kind of scrappy, right? We have, the Philadelphia Eagles going to Mile High, playing the Denver Broncos, who absolutely tore Dallas apart last week. As a Giants fan, I gotta love seeing Dallas looking so scared in the fourth quarter. I mean, they're going to bounce back, obviously, but the Denver defense is so real this year. It's they're 8th in passing right now. They're only allowing 223 through the air. I don't see Hurts being a threat there. Then you also see, they're not even allowing 100 yards on the ground on their defense. This is a legit team. They understand that they're 5-4 and that we were talking about before with the Chargers. It's a tight AFC West race. With the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, they have had some surprising stuff too. I really have no idea who to pick this one.
No, this is definitely an unusual one. One thing I do want to point out is Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, is on the COVID-19 list. Probably won't be there for the game.
Yeah,
not sure who's going to be doing the play calling just yet. So that's a loss for an offensive unit that did so well last week.
Definitely.
And I feel like part of that was also first week without Von Miller. All eyes are on us. He's now at the Rams. How's our defense and how's our team going to react to all that news and just being caught up in all the media and it being a vacuum of Von Miller and all this stuff, because it seems like he either makes or breaks that franchise.
Totally.
And they shut out last week. And then on the flip, like you said with the Eagles, some weeks they're on, some weeks they're off. But I'm going to stick with the Broncos. I like what you were talking about with the defensive passing yards. And what we've seen from Hurts is I think he can be a good passer, but only 17 dropbacks last week. He's not dropping back a lot to pass.
Definitely.
We see him running a lot. We see them just sort of using this running back by committee and handing the ball off a lot and then playing tough defense. And while I think that's fine and it's gotten you some wins, you're not going to win a lot of games in the NFL if your quarterback's only dropping back 17 times. We're seeing this is a passing league. You got to be throwing the ball at least 25 times a game. Occasionally, look, you run into those 17 drop back games is also because the defense maybe has a touchdown or two. So you don't need to drop back. But for me, I'm going to trust this Broncos defense more than anything, like you were talking about with the passing. And then I think that their offense right now, they're in a good position to build off of last week's game against the Broncos and win against an easier team.
Yeah, I mean, and what I saw in the Broncos offense too last week, Jerry Jeudy finally healthy. Cortland Sutton's production took a hit last week, but Jerry Jeudy coming off that injury he sustained week 1 against the Giants. He had 8 targets last week, 6 catches, 69 yards. I'm happy to see that from him. I think that's a good sign moving forward. As well, on the offense, you got Javonte Williams, the rookie, and Melvin Gordon, who we were deciding, who's going to get more carries, who's going to play more. I guess it's both of them because Gordon had 21 for 80 and a touchdown. Javonte had 17 for 111. And it's just impressive to me what the Broncos are doing. They're at home. Hard for me to bet against them this week, but I think it's going to be close.
No, absolutely. But moving on, Seattle Seahawks going to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Now, huge news as of 20-ish minutes ago. Russel Wilson has been activated off of the IR, and he will be starting in this game. Still no updates about Aaron Rodgers as of this point, Friday, November 12th, unless you know something I don't, Jack.
No, he's still in the COVID protocols at this moment, and he's in that timeline with the negative testing. Nick Chubb obviously is out this week due to the same reasoning. So, I think it's game time kind of decision. Got to see Sunday morning about him. But we saw Jordan Love last week.
Not great. Wasn't the prettiest game, to say the least, by the Packers. They had a chance there at the end and couldn't quite get it done. Defense has been good, though, but honestly, I'm going to stick with the Seahawks in this one. The uncertainty of Aaron Rodgers right now, I'll lean with the Seahawks getting Russell Wilson back. If, come Sunday morning, it's Aaron Rodgers is out of the COVID protocol and he's in, I'll go Green Bay on that one just because I think that they could just beat him with Aaron Rodgers. But if there's no Aaron Rodgers, what I saw from Jordan Love, I don't think that's going to be the future of his career.
Yeah,
but
of course.
It'd be really hard to make such a huge jump and then beat up against a pretty good team that's getting their star quarterback back. But the good news for the Packers is that they are at home. So hopefully that if Jordan Love is in, that makes him feel a little bit more comfortable. He's not going into Kansas City, one of the loudest stadiums. He's not going into Seattle the following week to one of the loudest stadiums.
Yeah, no, definitely. The home field advantage is good for the Packers, good for Jordan Love. But the Seahawks are 3-5, and Russell Wilson is definitely not happy about that. He definitely wants to get Seattle back to where they have been the last couple of years, which is winning. And right now, they're at the point right now, 3-5, not what you want. You have the Cardinals and the Rams dominating the division. You're probably fighting for a wild card right now, and if one guy for the rest of the season is going to cause that issue for the rest of the teams because he wants that wild card spot, it's going to be Russell Wilson. And if he's back, Tyler Lockett, I think Alex Collins, now fully healthy for this game, is another factor as well for, the Seattle offense to keep pace. Obviously you have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, like I said, too big of an upside right now. Even at home for me to take Jordan Love over, Russell Wilson and his weapons this week, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some news to monitor. Chris Carson was also activated off of the IR. Doesn't look like he's going to be starting in week 10 or playing in week 10. Neck injuries are always really tricky. For a while, there's rumor he could be out even longer than he was. So they're probably going to continue to monitor that and make sure everything is good. Again, you never want to risk anyone with an injury, especially a neck injury in a game. So continue to monitor that, everyone. Expect him to be definitely around for week 11, assuming all medical clearance continues to work his way. Moving on, we have a Sunday night football matchup. That's the AFC West. And, normally this wouldn't be as amazing of a game, but given how right the AFC West is all of a sudden, when the Kansas City Chiefs make their way to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, it's going to be a game.
Oh, man. I mean, Kansas City 5-4, Vegas 5-3, Kansas City beating the Packers, as we just mentioned, the Raiders losing to the Giants last week. I mean, you have a Sunday night game here that is going to be it's going to be incredible. I mean, right now, 51 point over under. Chiefs are only favored by 2.5. They're expecting a close game in Vegas. And, for me, what's crazy is, it's just, there's so much, potential for this to affect the rest of the season for these teams. And if Kansas City, last year, what we saw, Las Vegas, won 40-32, and then they lost 35-31 against Kansas City. And they've had close, high scoring games Oh man, it's so hard to pick, but I'm gonna go with the Raiders off the bat on this one. I think that last week they were mad that they lost to the Giants that game. Darren Waller is back. Darren Waller had an absolutely incredible game last week. He's just one of those X factors for me. Travis Kelce, we got a Travis Kelce, Darren Waller matchup. It's just so much fun to watch both these teams this year. I think that right now, I like what the Raiders are doing, and they've been stepping up in games like this. So I'm gonna go with them off the bat, and their defense is too good for way better than Kansas City's, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Raiders. I mean, you talked about how last year they got a surprise win. No one saw that one coming last year, and it's a very different Kansas City team than it was in 2020. Their offense does not look the same at all. Mahomes is not making the magical passes that he always does. It's not clicking. He'll drop some balls. Kelce isn't getting open all the time. It seems like some teams have really figured out how this offense likes to work. And look, they were playing a backup quarterback last week. They still only managed 13 points. That's not going to win a lot. Win a lot of games in the NFL. And the way that the Raiders have been playing, they're playing with the chip on their shoulder. They've had a lot going on during the season between Henry Ruggs and John Gruden and Arnett, their first round pick from last year. They've had all of these things going on, and
they're still 5-3.
Yeah, and they've just been able to prevail through that. Now they get to face a Chiefs team at home that hasn't been playing very well.
Yeah,
they're coming off of a loss. The Raiders, a game that, no offense to the Giants, but the Raiders should have won and didn't.
Yeah, no. But did it?
We did it. Yeah. Xavier McKinney would have something to say to me about all this. I like the Raiders right now. I don't like Kansas City. They've now kind of reached that point where 4 weeks ago was, they're going to figure it out. It's Kansas City. And now we're a month past that. And now it's like, are they even going to make the playoffs? Because they don't seem like they're a real contender all of a sudden in the AFC. And you have teams like the Raiders that are doing well, and you have teams like the Chargers, and those are just in their division. And you have the Colts, and and the Titans, and the Browns.
Yeah.
And there's so many quality teams, and the Bills, and they're going to get lost in the mix. And if they don't win this game, I just don't see them making the playoffs and all. But I'm definitely going to have to lock in the Raiders.
Yeah, and I mean, you're looking at Kansas City, as I said, I'm going with the Raiders as well. But just to put a perspective on what you're saying about Kansas City, they have lost to teams that are the teams that you mentioned, these playoff potential teams. They've lost to the Ravens, the Chargers. They've lost to the Bills. They lost to the Titans by a lot. The last 2 weeks they beat an Aaron Rodgers-less Packers and the Giants by 3. And the Giants, you can argue, they're not on the same level. Obviously, still they could be a lower team. And then now they're playing Vegas. They got Dallas. And then they got a bye, and then they got Denver, LV again, Chargers, Steelers. Not what these defenses have been building up around Pat Mahomes to stop him, and now they're ready.
Yeah, and like you're talking about with their schedule, the only team that they've beaten that is over 500 right now is the Browns, and that was week 1.
Yeah.
Since then, the only teams that they have beaten are teams under 500. They have beaten no winning team. You mentioned the Titans. You mentioned the Ravens. You mentioned the Chargers. They have all lost to those teams. But the Eagles, and they've beaten the Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so the Packers technically, I guess, are the second team. That's my fault. Now that I'm realizing what I'm saying, but because there's no Aaron Rodgers, does that count? It's not the same. So we'll count it as one. That's all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys for checking us out. The 4 p.m. game Sunday night, stacked games. Check them out. Check us out. JustSayingFootball.com. Just Saying Football on YouTube, and Just Saying No GWJS on Instagram for all your video and article updates before the games. Check us out. Have a good night and enjoy watching.
Enjoy.